Well, good morning, humans, and happy hump day. We are officially in our fifth podcast. And one of the things that I'm going to talk about today and what our topic is going to be, and it's something that kind of spurred in my brain. There's a lot going on right now in the media regarding a very well known and kind of a public name of someone who just passed away. I'm not going to trigger anybody and go into all the details on that, but there's a lot of noise surrounding this particular person and whether gay, straight, and a few other things. And I'm not going to go into the politics. I'm not going to go into the human. I'm not going to go into all those pieces. But it's something that sparked me thinking about the conversation that surrounds certain individuals, whether they be this one, that one, or the other, and kind of where they fall on the realm of queer to straight or somewhere in between. So what we're going to talk about today is a term that's called passing, and it's pretty complicated. I mean, it's a super heavy topic, you guys. Like, it's heavier than a leather jacket in Dallas in July. So, like, we're talking like some very serious stuff. But it's specifically about the art and the science and the absolutely exhausting theater production of trying to survive in a world that assumes everyone is factory setting straight or cis. So, what we're going to talk about is, for those that are uninitiated and not really, aware of the term, passing. And it means you're able to navigate a world where people automatically assume you're straight or cis. Now, historically, passing wasn't really a choice. It was a survival strategy. And we talk about this just about every single week. If we look back at mid 20th century history, passing was the difference between keeping your job or getting your name printed in a local newspaper during a bar raid. I mean, it was something that we had to do for a lot of different avenues and a lot of different aspects. Sociologists have a term for this, and it's called identity management. It sounds fancy, but really it basically just means you're doing high-level math in your head just in order to order your iced coffee at Starbucks in the morning. Even though today we have pride flags on everything from Listerine bottles all the way up to bank commercials and everywhere in between, passing is still really a massive double-edged sword. And it's kind of a cocktail of safety, privilege, and intense psychological erasure, for lack of a better term. So let's start with straight passing. If you're a queer person who happens to, I don't know, dress, talk, look like, you're the, typical conventional J. Crew or Abercrombie and Fitch catalog model, well, congratulations, I guess. You've passed the vibe check of the heterosexual masses. So, mazel, good for y'all. And you're able to walk into a repair shop or a family reunion without anybody asking you about your roommate or giving you some crazy little side-eye glances. In this particular scenario, there's some undeniable privilege here. So your brain, if you're one of those humans that are within this realm, you don't have to scan the room for exits. You don't have to look for an out or wonder who the person is or who the person isn't that you should be around. But the emotional tax on this privilege is wild. It's when people assume that you're straight that they think they're in safe company. Now that means essentially you go into 007 mode and you become an accidental double agent, and you could theoretically be forced to sit through casual homophobic conversation when they don't think any queer people are around in the room or listening. You're just sitting, at the office in the break room, and people are talking about all their things, and the subject of the queer community comes up, and there's some smears or slanders that are in there, potentially. And you're like, ooh, yeah, yay, sports ball, and then I'm gonna go cry in the bathroom now. Psychologists have noted that this almost becomes like a constant coming out cycle, and it causes cognitive words, chronic cognitive load. Better. Okay, Frank, not enough coffee this morning. And when you're looking at that, it just means the mental burden that you carry is substantial. You're never just existing, you're constantly deciding. Is this the correct person that I need to talk to? Am I making it awkward? Do I stay silent? Am I feeling like a coward? It's like a weekly game of emotional Russian roulette. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. So there's some highly nuanced layers to it. Cis passing in the trans and non-binary community can sometimes be referred to as the name stealth. I mean, that's what I've been told by a few friends that I know. And I actually know quite a few humans that are trans men and trans women. And I was having a conversation specifically with a buddy of mine who is a trans man. And he was kind of talking about some of these pieces. And, you know, some of the things that came up in the media popped up and, you know, passing and some of those pieces. And he was giving me a little bit of his viewpoint and standpoint on it. And it's different for everyone that you're going to talk to, right? But from an educational standpoint, medical and psychological research shows that cis passing drastically reduces the rates of minority stress, street harassment, employment discrimination, all for trans individuals. And when society reads you correctly, your nervous system, like your psychological and makeup, your physical makeup, finally gets to take a breath. But living as stealth, you know, we'll use that word, even though it might be not the most correct term, but I think it's applicable in the situation. It comes with a receipt. So my buddy passes flawlessly. Like, you would never know that he was ever genetically born a woman and has transitioned into the form of man. But looking at some of these pieces and talking about some of these things to him, he is very open and vocal about his journey. He doesn't hide, he doesn't stay in the shadows. If it comes up or if it's something that, you know, they start to work through, he will be very transparent about what his situation is. He doesn't have that constant worry about being found out because he is very authentically and truly himself in all ways, shapes, and forms. Now, that is just his particular take on this. We have all different levels within the community. And there is some things that, you know, in certain areas, it almost turns your life into like a spy thriller kind of situation. Humans can constantly be worried about somebody from, you know, middle school popping up out of nowhere. You know, the person that they've known for X amount of years that assumes A, B, and C might find out, you know, 1, 2, and 3 instead. And on top of that, there's like this immense community guilt that's sometimes associated with that stealth piece that goes into it as opposed to just passing. And sometimes folks that live in that stealth mode almost feel like they're abandoning the front lines of visibility. It's like almost like a trap. Society bullies you until you blend in, and now your own brain bullies you for blending in too well. So that's where that double-edged sword piece comes in. And, you know, I live my life as a man. I was genetically born male, and I live my life as male. So this is something that was really interesting to me to kind of learn some of these terms and learn the deep dive into what the psychological aspects are and to dig a little bit more into it. So if we look at this, it's not just, you know, people who are, you know, trans or non-binary trying to survive the straight world. Passing is also this weird situation where it's almost like gatekeeping internally inside the gay community. So this is where it gets a little weird and a little wonky, but actually kind of impactful. We've almost internalized heteronormativity so hard that we've basically turned it into a dating app algorithm. So, like, for my gay male friends out there, open Grindr or Tinder right now. Like, what do you see when you open those apps? Masculine for masculine, no femmes, must look straight, only looking for trans. Like, we've taken this historical survival mechanism and turned it into a beauty standard. So we praise gay men and women for looking like straight frat bros and supermodels, and we sideline the folks that are out loud, proud, and gender non-conforming and visibly queer. We're basically saying, I love being gay as long as it looks exactly like being straight. It straight up Stockholm syndrome, you guys. Stockholm syndrome. We're grading each other on this weird test written by the people who Mad Maxed us into the closet into the first place. So, looking at some of these pieces and talking about it, like, what's the conclusion on this? Passing is not a betrayal. It's not a trophy, it's a shield. And if you have that shield, great. Use it to keep the safety of the folks that don't feel that they have the ability to do so. And some of us hold that shield right here in front of us, and some of us have that shield down off to the side where we only use it if we need it. And if you don't pass, if you're visibly queer every single day, you're the blueprint. Like, you're the reason the community exists. When we look at some of these pieces and we talk about some of these things, the passing becomes a trigger for some folks. The word stealth could be a trigger for some folks. But at the end of the day, when we look at it, it's not just when we talk about our trans and non-binary community, it's when we talk about how we show up. It's when we talk about the way we present when we're in public. I look at myself, and for the most part, I just present as a normal dude. But then I'll start to speak, I'll open my mouth, and you can tell that I live my life as a queer man. So many aspects for very close friends of mine. A very good girlfriend of mine that lives in California, she likes to and prefers to present very male, a very short haircut, flannel shirts, jeans, sneakers, pants, no dresses or skirts. She's just that human, and that is how she chooses to live. That's how she is most proud. That's how she is most comfortable, and that is her true and authentic self, and that is beautiful, and she doesn't filter that for anyone. When we look at some of these pieces and we talk about being the blueprint, that blueprint changes, right? Those of y'all that are architects out there or do, CAD drawings and those things, what you start off with is not always the finished product. So as you go on your journey, as you work through some of these pieces, as you think about passing, as you think about stealth, as you think about your brothers and sisters in the community, both gay and straight, think about those pieces. Think about, who are you? Think about, what do you choose to be? And think about, are you living your most true and authentic, unadulterated and beautiful self? And at the end of the day, if you feel that those are the things that you're doing and you feel that that's where you're at, that's amazing. And if you don't feel you're there yet, that's okay. Because at some point, you're going to meet that human, or you're going to become friends with that particular individual that's going to show you it's okay to be your true, authentic self. And if you need to adapt your true and authentic self, depending on the environment you're in and your personal safety, that's okay as well. There's no hard and fast black and white here. It's all about just raising awareness and understanding that there are so many different facets of our community and so many different aspects that we don't necessarily take into consideration. And looking at some of these pieces, knowing that at the end of the day, we're really just us. We're individuals that embrace all the aspects of ourselves for who and what they are. Thank you. Again, we are at time. We're at about 15 minutes. For those of you that tuned in the whole time, thank you. I appreciate you listening to all the words. For those of you that just popped in and out, that only heard part of this, I appreciate you just visiting and hearing what we have to say for the day. We, the royal we, i.e. me, myself, and I, and my 12 other personalities that I have. And the whole reason we do this, the whole point is to bridge one world and the other, because at the end of the day, love is love. Again, thank you guys. Please let me know what resonated with you. Let me know what did not resonate with you. Today's topic may have set some wheels in motion in your brains, and you may have some feelings about some of the things that were talked about. I would love to hear them. Again, it's just overall perspective. It's just raising a little bit of awareness for everyone in the communities, both the gay world and the straight world. And at the end of the day, thank you. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I love each and every one of you, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.